Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome once again to another action packed episode of Disney Compendium. I am your host, JJ, and over there is my good friend. I always try to think of titles for you related to the movie, but I just don't have
uh,
my improv skills aren't good enough by the time I get in here.
Hanger on. I'm a
my,
hanger on.
my my own little pig farmer Nick over there.
Hi, how you doing, JJ? Are you
I'm doing
ready to talk about Black Panther?
Black Family. This is we're gonna put a timestamp on this episode. This is we're gonna be talking about a world of swords and sorcery, wizards and dragons. Uh,
And vibranium.
uh, uh, while some people are sitting around right now watching the season premiere of Game of Thrones, we're watching the Game of Cauldrons.
Uh, I mean, it's got magic and swords.
There's a dragon in it,
I mean,
kind
not
of,
a,
at the very end, that
it,
doesn't really have any point to the movie. They don't fight the dragon, really.
but for some reason, like twice as much sex. It's weird.
It's weird. It's weird for a Disney movie. This is
Uh,
this is the first PG Disney movie, and they just wanted to earn it, I guess.
yeah,
No, but yeah, episode 25, volume 25. A nice, good number there. We're getting close to the halfway point. A
four
few
more
more of these.
episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
The
But
Great Mouth Detective.
this is the Black Cauldron.
It is a Black Cauldron.
It is the Black Cauldron, July 24th, 1985. Um,
Oh, what a magical year 1985 was.
1985. A lot happened in 1985. I was born just a couple of months before this movie came out.
I had just celebrated my fifth birthday,
Yeah.
but also this movie happened,
Yes, this movie.
and
This
that's one
movie
thing you can
happened.
say about it. It happened.
It certainly did. This was. I'm just gonna get it out there right now. So remember last week when we were talking about how The Fox and the Hound was the most expensive Disney movie ever made at the animated film from the studio ever at
Hold my Dole Whip.
yeah, at $12 million. It was the most expensive movie they'd ever worked on. This movie, with a staggering budget of $44 million.
How?
I don't know where that is on the screen, but it is there.
I,
It cost a lot of money, I guess. This is the first Disney movie to be theatrically released featuring CGI. The cauldron, the cauldron in its entirety throughout the movie is CG. It's not a
there's
hand-drawn
a
cauldron, and
there's
there's
a little there's a little escape scene of CGI too.
yeah, yeah. And they do a little and a lot of like minor effects, things
Yeah,
that are like water and bubble effects and stuff tend to be CG in there too. But it's not the first movie to be worked on with CG. Next week's movie was actually started its production before this one. And because they were using CG on that one, you had the uh, the team on this one like, ooh, I like that. Let's do some CG in ours too. Uh, as if this movie didn't have enough problems, they
yeah.
throw that in there too.
We
Uh,
we need to add more graphics.
um, uh,
16 megs, Black Cauldron.
so um, so you have that. That's a significant thing about this movie. So the plot, CG, and this is the first film to be released under the Eisner era of Disney. So, as you could imagine, things did not go well for this
Yeah,
movie.
it
Uh,
is a perfect storm of oh crap.
yeah, oh boy. Uh oh, uh oh, uh oh. uh, I don't even know to really where to begin with this movie because, like, by the time the movie was over, I had already forgotten how it began, so I had to rewind a little bit. Like, because this movie travels and it travels fast.
But
And
it
like
doesn't do it coherently.
it does not the plot, it takes a backseat to everything else going on in this movie. Because the heart of this movie really is that you have the Horned King out there being evil and spooky. Um, you have a pig who turns out to be psychic.
Sure, yeah. He looks
uh,
like he looks a lot like Wilbur from the Charlotte's Web animated movie.
yeah, it's good when they always like to give pigs like eyelashes. Like
Why is that?
there's got to be something.
Stop trying to make sexy pigs.
Yeah, yeah. What's the pig? Henwen is the pig's
Edwin,
name. You got Taryn is the main Luke Skywalker of the story.
aka Dirk the
Yeah,
Dirk.
Dirk Daring.
Um, let's just go ahead and get into it. This movie's Zelda again.
Yeah, this movie. Yeah, but not like, but like the CDI Zeldas.
Yeah, no, yes, it is. Especially
Like,
once
yeah,
we get to Princess, like that's Zelda. That's just Zelda.
yeah, it's woo. Yeah, and he's just, and Taryn is just so whiny always in this movie.
Well, okay, so you told me via text like one of the main influences for this movie was Star Wars.
Yes.
And the whole beginning is where he's like annoyed about his lot in life. I'm like, and immediately I heard, but I was gonna go to Tashi Station.
Yeah, no. The whole Taryn is a sad little farm boy who wants a better life for himself, who sees himself as being a hero, aka like in Luke's case, joining uh, the rebellion, or in his case, just becoming a Don Bluth video game character. So,
He envisions himself wearing the gold armor from Ghosts and Goblins.
yes, yes.
But he's living with an old goth, and I say an old goth because he's got fingerless gloves.
Yeah,
Who makes him feed oatmeal to a pig?
I absolutely forget almost, with the exception of Taryn, the princess. I always forget. It's like Ellen Wee.
Yeah,
Ellen?
sure, whatever.
Yeah,
Let's go.
and
Desmond Llewellyn, that's his
yeah,
name. That's
yeah,
because he looks like Q.
yeah. Like I don't know his name. I had to write it down, and because it's like, but then I write it down, and then I look at it, and I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's like Care Dalbin or something like that.
Care Dalp.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this name? Dalvin, I guess.
Dalpin?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So that's how this movie begins. He's feeding
Yeah,
the pig.
he's feeding the pig. He's daydreaming about
Well,
being a hero.
actually,
The
that's not how it
pig,
begins. We get the cauldron at first.
yeah, you get your typical Disney foreshadowing that they
Yeah,
start off virtually every movie with.
right.
Uh, but then, yeah, but then you're introduced to Taryn and the Enchanter. It's just
Yeah.
like his slot in life. Um, but like the pig just starts freaking out, which was very upsetting. I don't know
Uh,
why.
maybe because it was the way he was trying to grab the pig.
Yeah,
I was like, oh no, please stop that. Please stop
yeah,
doing that right now.
yeah. It's weird, and the pig starts freaking out because the pig has like psychic powers, and he can, and I say he, but I'm pretty sure because of the eyelashes it's a she, and it's named Henwen, so that makes sense. That it's a
They don't
she.
really. They don't really ever name. They ever say he or her. So
Yeah.
I don't want to put. I don't want to put a gender on the pig, JJ.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Henwen. So the pig
An
can
asexual pig.
can see where the cauldron is. It seems oddly specific, but
How does old goth man know this?
I, he based on the ending of this movie, that was clearly he's supposed to know. Like
He just
like
he's been grooming
yeah,
his dude for the whole time.
yeah. That's certainly how the ending implies it.
I don't buy that. I don't.
What?
I don't buy that. It's like, no, you're just like a
Yeah,
weird old man.
yeah. But like he knew what the pig's powers were and had to stop the had to had to Professor Xavier the pig's powers away. Remember, like it was like keep it turn them off for a minute here. So
No more swines, and then suddenly,
yeah.
no more, all gone.
Um,
Then we get some maleficent-looking dragons,
yeah, we do. Uh,
aka wraiths from Lord of the
yeah,
Rings.
yeah. That's like trying to take. It's so funny this pig stuff because it just turns off at a point in this movie. Like they're just like, all right, well, we're done with the pig, so we need to figure out what's the rest. But yeah, so yeah, they take the pig because the pig knows where the cauldron is, and the Horned King wants to know uh,
Where it is.
where this cauldron is because this cauldron is very important. It is the one ring in this universe.
It is as you said, the MacGuffin.
Yes. Well, it's funny because like you have the Black Cauldron and the pig, and
Yeah.
it's like you've got two MacGuffins in this movie. You got the cauldron, which everyone wants to get, and you also have the pig, which everyone wants to get. So,
It's a double MacGuffin.
yeah. Um,
Technically, it's a bacon MacGuffin.
sausage McGuffin with egg.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, he wants. So the Horned King wants to have the cauldron so he can raise his like invincible army of cauldron born,
Yeah.
which is an undead army essentially. Uh,
Yeah. They're
it's yeah. I mean he's a lich. I mean they don't say it out much, but like in fantasy literature, he's a lich. That's what they are. They're undead wizards essentially.
let's
and
uh
and
let's talk. Go
if
ahead.
you've seen Adventure Time, uh, the Lich in Adventure Time is very much just this character, like this horned undead, uh, uh, like Skeletor creature. Skeletor. I mean, he like he
Yeah,
has the
okay.
staff with horns and everything. Like, okay, Skeletor as
So
well.
the appearance of the Corn Cake, you kind of nailed it, but
Yeah.
the best way I can describe it is like a combination of Skeletor, Mumroth, like old man Mumroth from Thundercats, and Prime Evil from the bad Funimation or Filmation Ghostbusters. It's those three characters.
Or if you want to get modern, it is just the Lich from Adventure Time. You don't have to combine three characters to get him.
Roll into one character that should be painted on the side of someone's van.
Yeah, it's a very cool looking character.
I
Like
love the Horn King.
it's the only thing from this movie that has really survived because the Horn King has appeared in other things later on. Like it's just sort of like a background character or whatever. Like you'll see
For,
he's like I think I saw like he popped up in an episode of like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or something before or something like.
or in one instance, which I'm sure you're going to talk about, terrifying Japanese people.
Oh boy, that's yeah, we're gonna get to that. And he's voiced by John Hurt.
Who has a great voice.
That's a great voice. It's a very, very weird choice. Like, because like yeah, just a very weird choice for uh, a character for a movie in general
Yeah.
from this studio. I don't understand where they were coming from with
Uh,
this, other than this is just where the future of cartoons are going. But
yes.
it was a
If
bold move, but they quickly learned that it wasn't a Disney movie.
I think John Hurst is the only celebrity voice, really, right?
Yeah, yeah. Most of them are just like
Oh.
2-bit comedians or just other voices, like actors of the time or whatever. So not
If anybody's not sure who John Hurt is, he's the guy who has the chest burst alien
Yep.
from the first Alien. He's the Elephant Man.
Yep.
And for my nerdier friends out there, he's the War Doctor from Doctor Who.
There you go. So yeah, John Hurt. Yeah, just you certainly know John Hurt from something.
You've seen him in a thing.
Yeah, it's like if like whether it be like you said, the Elephant Man, 1984, the
Right.
War Doctor. Uh,
V for Vendetta.
this wasn't his first cartoon because he was in uh, Watership Down. He was the voice of
Okay.
Watership Down and the Plague Dogs. Uh, and to tie things in, he was also
Lord of the
in the
Rings.
1978 Night Lord of the
Hobbit.
Rings
Yep.
cartoon. Yep.
Yep.
And what else? He was in the Hellboy movies.
Was he
Um,
really?
yeah,
Was he? Oh, he was the because he was the priest, right? In the
yeah.
Hellboy. Yeah, 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 yeah.
A Western movie that I love called The Proposition. Um,
Okay.
an Australian Western movie. Uh,
So
it,
quickly down under.
yeah, yeah. Uh, oh, there's another movie that nobody's allowed to talk about that happens to be the fourth movie in a very popular franchise that that
And
people like to pretend doesn't exist.
and that movie is
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
oh, that fan movie.
Yeah,
Right.
that they
That
somehow were able to cast Harrison Ford
yeah.
and gets that fan movie that they were somehow able to talk Steven Spielberg into directing and George Lucas to help right.
Well, no, I as I understand it, and they had some kind of like blackmail material on them. They're like, you're gonna do this movie. God
I will
help you.
I will sell you Star Wars in a handful of years if you let us do this.
If you let us do this movie. But yeah, he was also in V for
Yeah.
Vendetta,
Yep.
um,
Um,
Harry Potter. So
hey,
it's
if you want to know like something that like when you're trying to remember parts from the movie and you just take notes, you quickly learn. Like I said with uh, Dalbin or whatever his name is from
yeah.
that Terran. How about the bard's name?
Um. Oh God, Melody Smurf is his name.
It's like a fluter,
Johan. It's Johan.
yeah, fluter flam.
Fluter, fluter flam.
It is FFLEWDDUR. FFLAM. You look at that written in your little notepad and you're like, did I have a stroke?
Why? Why is he Jeff Jarrett? That's a lot of S there.
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
E.
We have talked about virtually. We barely touched on the pig getting picked up by the Waverns or whatever the heck they are.
The rates for Aiken for some bacon.
Yeah,
Yep, 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 yep.
yeah, so yeah, yeah. So the pig gets kidnapped
Yeah.
and gets taken to I don't know where what is the horde because it's like his uh, fortress. It's far less a castle, a fortress.
It was a castle.
Yeah,
Now it's this beat to hell looking
yeah.
thing. Like it makes
Stronghold, I guess. It's like
I guess.
like in Wind Waker, where it's just like this is the stronghold. It's not.
Yep.
It's clearly at one point was probably some sort of kingdom or castle, but now it's just this crazy island-based fortress.
I mean, it's so shoddy and run down. Like it makes Castle Grayskull look like the Ritz Carlton.
Yeah. So as we're as Taryn is on his way to the castle, we are introduced to the most important character in the movie for some reason.
Uh, Snarf dressed as Rip Taylor.
Yeah, Gurgi.
Okay,
And,
sure.
yeah, uh,
Orko.
yeah, which is very clearly just a dog that's drawn to walk upright. It's incredibly confusing because it really is like a terrier, like
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but like, but with human features. It's this very weird design for Disney, and apparently, from what I read, because I never read the books on this, but apparently, from what I've read, that's not really even what the character is described as. So it's just kind of Disney going rogue, like they did on this entire movie, from the sounds of things. Um,
Um, you're meant to love Gurgi, but you won't.
Yeah, Gurgi, you feel towards Gurgi the same way Taryn feels towards Gurgi for the majority of the movie until the very end where Taryn's like likes Gurgi. You never
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
you don't get that. You
It's
won't get
only
that
after
part.
Gurgi, like, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
so
Gurgi,
Gurgi is Jar Jar before Jar Jar.
yeah, Gurgi talks 100% exactly like Gollum
Yep.
in the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies. Like everything about it, the tone, the way he talks, and the way he
Double
used,
hot North Master.
yeah, it's like he's looking for food and he's like crunches and munches and stuff like it's like you can hear Gollum in every single thing he says, like as I was telling you earlier, to the point where I had to look it up to see if uh, Andy Serkis like just stole that character, and it certainly seems based on everything I read that yes, this his his Gollum is inspired by
The
Gurgi.
voice?
The
Yeah.
voice is 100% inspired by Gurgi from Black Cauldron, which is the most absurd thing I could possibly think of.
I mean, if
Like,
nothing else, it gave us Gollum. So
yeah,
there, hey, there you go.
yeah. So
But we don't get oh, okay, we're taking a break for our Slurpee cups.
yeah, boy,
Mm,
I needed it. We're talking too much.
Psyduck.
So
I got Psyduck.
yeah. So you don't get the pleasure of the video feed with me and Nick here, but yeah,
It was either
pick up.
Psyduck or that weird duck with a sombrero.
Yeah, whose name I can never remember, but
It's like, eh.
I think what is Snubble the other one, the fourth one? I think there's a
I
Snubble
didn't
one
see
too.
Snubble. I only saw sombrero duck
Hi,
and
welcome to our Pokemon fan cast.
welcome to Slurpee cast.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about bad junk food and Pokemon for the next hour and a half.
So JJ, what three flavors were in the mystery Slurpee?
I think grape and
Okay, sure.
vanilla, maybe,
I think
and
blueberry maybe, or some kind of raspberry.
some sort of berry. Yes,
Yeah.
you can win Slurpees free Slurpees if you guess all three.
I mean, that's an incentive.
Yeah.
Anyway, Black
Um,
Cauldron, no
yeah.
Slurpee tie-in. Someone for some
No, it's
reason.
very, very little tie-in. Get to that
One
later.
thing. Yeah,
There's a couple more things, but
right.
for the most part, yeah, one tie-in, and it came out after the movie was. So, um, but yeah, so Gurgi is obnoxious, because Taryn is trying to get the pig, trying to
Mhm.
trick him with the apple, while Gurgi is trying to take the apple. And this scene goes on for like 2 minutes, like
Yeah,
3 minutes of just fighting over an apple, and it is the most obnoxious
it's
scene.
like that. It's like a scene from Empire Strikes Back where Yoda's like going through Luke's stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but without any of the charm of Yoda.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just this whole thing until he like, okay, I'll give you the like, and I can't tell if Gurgi is like being facetious or really is having like a breakdown or something that he's making Taryn mad, or if he's just trying to make Taryn feel bad, or like when he's saying like, oh yes, Gurgi deserves to be beaten over the head or whatever. Like, is he being facetious towards him? Is he trying to make him feel bad, or is he really like? Because you can never tell with the voice that he's going with for this movie.
Gurgi heart's pain. It's the only way he can feel.
Yeah, it's weird, but he takes a bite out of the apple and then gives him the apple back. It's irritating, and then they get in a fight again. And
Well, I mean, first he asks him like, "Have you seen a pig?" And Gurgi describes Henwin, and then goes, "Nope, haven't seen her. Seen
yeah,
it."
just
Like, listen, dude.
but it's just because that's just like one of the oldest like jokes in the book, like because you get that all the time where like you see it in cartoons a lot or comedies where it's like they describe exactly what they're looking for. Like, nope, haven't seen it.
Yeah, but when Bugs Bunny does it, it's funny.
Yeah,
When Gurgi does it, he's like, "I hate you, Gurgi."
yeah, and you want to be like Gurgi, lives are on the line. Like, let's reel it in and really actually help me find the pig. Because, but but yeah, eventually we get through. Eventually, Taryn has enough and just leaves,
Makes
and
his way to the
makes his way to the
castle thing.
castle, stronghold, whatever. Just call it a castle. Um, that that goes about as good as you'd expect from this character.
Yep,
He's almost like immediately captured.
he by the Horn King's drunken goons.
Yes, yes. Uh, just like yeah, they should all have Cockney accents, but none of them do.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
Yeah, they should all be soccer hooligans, but none of them are. They
They
just
should all sound like Wade Barrett.
yeah. Oh, I've got some bad
I'm
news.
afraid I've got some bad news.
But no, none of that. It's like
It's you're
yeah,
watching the Black Cauldron.
it's all Wade Barrett and Pack.
Yep,
but but yeah, so he's thrown into dungeon,
yep.
and this is where you meet the rest of his ragtag group of rebels.
You beat Princess Zelda.
Princess Zelda and uh,
Jeff Jarrett.
Chef Jarrett,
Yep.
the Bard.
Yeah. Well, he's the bard to us.
Yeah, yeah,
For the purposes of JJ sanity, he's the bard.
yeah, for the Bard and Princess Elwini. I feel like
That's right.
that
Yeah.
sounds like Elwini.
But boy, does she look like Zelda.
Boy, does she! It's a very
Like,
cute character design. It really is.
yeah.
Like, it's really well done, and it's very charming, and like, it feels like it should have had some staying power because it's a very good. It looks like it's much like
Yeah.
Zelda. It looks very. It looks the most princessy that they've ever
Yeah.
drawn up to this point.
We're kind of making fun of the movie, but up to this point, like the animation is actually really good.
Yeah, like
This movie's
this movie.
really well animated.
There's one thing that we'll say about this movie is that this movie is like it's almost more like a music video than anything, where it's just like it's cool to just go through these scenes because
Yeah.
even if the plot is sort of scattershot and in some cases non-existent, it's still like you find yourself like wanting to keep watching it because it looks good and it has a cool visual style to it and it's very dark and it's very not Disney in some instances. Like like once you get to the castle here, the dungeon and stuff, it doesn't really feel like a Disney movie anymore.
There's like rotting skeletons and
Yeah.
threats of just outright murder.
Yeah, like they're like usually they use some euphemism or something, but now the Horned King is known to just say, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yep.
he never once cracks a joke in the entire length of this movie.
Nope.
There's
He's
never
a humorless.
he's humorless. He doesn't crack a joke. He gets a little sarcastic at the end with the characters, but like not really.
He's
But like when he's making fun of them, like how are you gonna stop me? You know, a bard. I forget what he called the princess, but he used a very derogatory term towards her. I remember. I didn't write it down, but I was like, "Ooh, what?"
Yeah, I'll talk about his little green henchman too.
Yeah, his little orc dude.
I he looks like Marty Feldman from Young Frankenstein, so I just called him Igor.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
was Igor to me.
yeah, yeah. He was. Um, but so we're introduced to all of the characters. Creeper. His name's Creeper.
Okay, sure, why not?
That's. I mean, it's not really a name. I think that's just what he calls him. It's a
It's just a
goblin.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're in the dungeon or arrested, and you meet Princess Zelda with her power of light.
Yep. He has to navigate her out of the dungeon.
Yes.
Um,
Something that never happens in Legend of Zelda.
no. Oh wait.
Uh, but yeah, so yeah, he's helping her escape. Um, they find the burial chamber of a king, like
Yeah,
in this dungeon, when they find his sword.
which super convenient.
Yeah, yeah, they find the master sword in the dungeon of this.
Dude, it is the sword of time.
Yeah,
That it is like,
it,
wow.
it's an.
Did Nintendo rip this movie off?
I mean, look, this is 1985, and Zelda would have come out
87.
87. So, I mean, I guess it's not too hard to think that maybe this movie would have been fresh in minds, and this movie would have been a big deal at the time. I mean,
Sure,
so
especially like you said Japan had that.
yeah, they had the theme park
Oh,
attraction for
oh, good
this.
lord! The thing we love so much is inspired by this weird ass movie.
But but yeah, I mean, the princess, especially like yeah, this princess definitely feels very Zelda-y in like later on versions where it's because she's not a damsel in distress in any way, shape, or form.
No,
She's never like she's caught, but like at when you meet her, but like she's never really in much danger throughout, other than no more danger than the rest of the crew. So it's
and we should clarify. She's like original and Zelda 2 Zelda.
yeah, okay.
She's like maybe like concept art Zelda,
Yeah, not
not
and
like your
not
not your Breath of the Wild like rustic Zelda.
yeah, but also very unfortunately CDI Zelda with or or, or cartoon Zelda too.
Yeah,
Little snarky at times towards her hero, the hero of time.
I wish at one point he just told her said, "Excuse me, princess."
I know. I probably would have turned off the movie at that point because it would have been too much.
You were like, "I can't handle this meta."
But yeah, they get the crazy sword that he can like. Is he controlling it psychically, or does the sword just like an empath sword where it's just like I need to protect?
I don't know. At one point, I was watching the movie and I was watching with my wife, and she didn't get the joke. And I'm like, he must have full hearts because it's shooting beams out.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I don't understand what the sword's power set is, other than it is a levitating sword. It is Hone Edge from Pokemon. It's just able to.
It's a sentient sword.
Yeah. Um. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Never mind. But yeah. So they get the sword and they're able to just sort of like fight off
All of them.
all of them with this with the master sword here. And that's
Uh,
where we meet. That's where we meet the bard shortly. The the comic relief, I guess,
I,
of
except
all
he's
the
not
characters.
funny.
Except he's not funny, but they're trying to make him funny. Um,
He's like a doddering old guy with a.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
and it's, so you get them trying to get out of the castle. Then they hook back up with they hook up with Gurgi. Here's
Yeah,
Gurgi again. Just when you thought you were done with Gurgi, here he is.
the princess
Um,
seems to like Gurgi.
yeah, it's a dog. I mean, if you didn't realize how irritating he was, you'd probably like him at first too. But
Uh, so they
yeah,
find Tinrin's trail, I guess. Gurgi
yeah,
helps them find the
yeah,
trail.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They pick back up on the trail, which leads them to the
Smurf Village.
Smurf village. Yeah, um, where they find it, where you find out that's where Henwen is.
Yeah,
Um, they're the fair folk, is what they are in this
they're
movie.
fair folk, but they are very much the Smurfs.
They're just the Smurfs, yeah.
Down to having one female character
Yeah,
and their older character, older like mentor character, looking just like Papa Smurf.
yeah. It, this whole scene is designed to write this stupid pig out of the plot. It's like because like now you find out that Papa Smurf here uh, knows where the cauldron is.
Yep.
So the pig is now completely pointless, to the point where they're just like, all right, well, we'll take the pig back to the farm. See ya. And there's the pig, never to be seen again until the very end of the movie,
Yep.
where just like the post-credit scene kind of thing in this movie. So the whole like first half of this movie was nothing. That goes
This
to
is kind of
pig.
where you see it unravel from a production standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, what
So
the hell is happening in this movie?
yeah. So there they go. Um, and they find out where the cauldron is. It's in the
Mhm.
marshes out there. They have all kinds of cauldrons where the cauldron is, and this is where you're introduced to the three witches.
Uh-huh. This is where
Another.
the PG rating comes in.
How about you get into the three witches, Nick?
All right. So we have witches, and they kind of follow the stereotype. You get your skinny, your skinny one. You got your medium one, and you got your more voluptuous witch.
Yeah. Yeah. Nintendo's ice hockey of witches.
She's in love with the bard.
Oh boy, yeah, she is
She
super into the bard.
she's uh pl- she's got big boobs.
Yeah, yeah, it has. Yeah, I mean, and there's physics.
It's this, I mean, it's like DOA jiggle physics here.
This is a Ninja Theory developed uh Nintendo game here, or fighting game over
It's like
here, like for
it it,
Disney.
it makes it make I mean, yeah, it made my blush like, oh, hold on. Your back, your poor back.
Yeah,
Uh, they're also kind of me like the Fates from Hercules a little bit too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What's wrong with these feathers?
yeah,
So, yep, they offer to give him the Black Cauldron in exchange for the sword.
yeah. Um, they scare off the Smurf that was trailing with him.
Yeah, after he gets stuck in her cleavage.
Yes, like yeah, yeah. Not like that was the part. Like I was like I thought for sure that's where you're gonna go with it, but nope.
Yeah, that is a scene that happens. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
exaggerating. It just like
yeah,
he's just there,
yeah.
nestled in boobs.
So yeah, this is where we learn. Like, all right, so yeah, we'll you can have you can have the Black Cauldron, but we need we need the Master Sword in
We
exchange.
need the Master Sword first, yeah.
Yeah, like you got like it's like a monkey paw situation where it's like, all right, you get your wish, but
And of
uh,
course, they're witches, so they're going to betray it. They're going to
yeah,
not live up to their end of it.
yeah. But if they, it's not, but they don't. Like they do live up to because they give them the cauldron. It's not
Yeah,
their fault that they didn't know that they couldn't destroy the cauldron, and they
yeah,
tell them how to break the cauldron's curse.
yeah,
Like, like they didn't really. They're just witches, so they're jerks about it. But I
yeah.
mean, they held up their end of the bargain, like straight up.
Just like you,
You
they're
can,
like, here's the component. You can't do anything with it.
yeah, it's like they just didn't tell them ahead of time
It,
that you can't destroy it. They waited till they got the sword
yeah,
to
you
say,
have to. You
yeah,
can't use it until you throw Gamora into it.
yeah, yes. I mean, yeah,
Soul for a
it's
soul.
soul for a soul. Yeah, somebody has to willingly put themselves in the cauldron to break the spell.
Right.
Um, so it's like it's the typical true act of heroism kind of thing. True love's first kiss, all that kind of just like the purity of the soul kind of stuff that is so used to the magic spells and like especially Disney movies. Um,
So you already kind of see where this is headed.
yeah, you would think.
You would think you know where this is headed.
Yeah, but um, yeah. So they get their cauldron and with
Yep.
nothing to do with it.
Like, here it is.
Yep. Oh boy, this is good. We just have a big black pot now.
Yep.
Yay.
Time to make some stew.
Um. Uh. So now Taryn is just like I'm just a big old dummy. What was I thinking? All this.
And
Uh.
he almost gets to first base with Zelda.
Yes, because it's like
And,
no, because it's like we believe in you, and there's almost a kiss and all that nonsense.
and here come the Wraiths.
Yeah, and then then the wraiths come in, the Horned King's evil minions come in, um, and get the cauldron, and once again, the crew is arrested by the goons.
It's like, hey, Horn King, maybe just off them.
It's like, why are you arresting them? Like, what are you gaining by them being around? But
It's that Scott Evil thing. I'll get a gun. I'll shoot him right now. No, no, no.
yeah, it's just like he's gonna have to, and it's not like he's like a James Bond villain who has to give a impassioned speech
No.
about his thing, because he doesn't do a whole lot of talking other than like, threatening Creeper is 90% of his audio work.
He has a weird Bart and Homer thing with Creeper.
Yeah,
where he's
really
constantly throttling him.
Constantly strangling him. Just two-handed strangling Creeper.
Yeah.
And Creeper like strangles himself at one point as punishment. Like, so he does, which is again upsetting.
Because Creeper put mothballs in the beef stew.
Anyway, so yeah. Cauldron makes its way to the Horned King, and the crew is arrested again, and the Horned King wastes zero time.
Like, I'm going to chuck him into the cauldron.
Like, it is instantly he has raised his army.
Yep.
With this cauldron, his army of undead Deadites, yeah. So his plan is just, I just want to kill everything, right? Like, it just seems like this, except for these three, inexplicably. It's like, because you never really, other than he just wants to raise his undead army, there's no plan with anything.
No.
He doesn't even send them out. It's not like he's saying, now go seize the castle or something. It's just like, all right, well, got my army.
Let's march across this wooden bridge.
Yeah. So, yeah. And again, this you're getting to the point of the movie where it's just like, all right, we have to wrap this up because this is like 5 books, and we're telling one of them, and we're kind of coming in the middle.
The orchestra, or in this case probably Eisner, is playing them off.
Yeah, because
time to go home, brother.
Yeah, last act is the climax of this movie, just like pow, pow, pow. Yep. It's like, okay, you guys are captured. Now here comes Gurgi. He found its way there, and he frees Terran, and Terran is about to throw himself into the cauldron, but Gurgi stops him.
Just, no, I don't have any friends. You have lots of friends.
Yeah, and is getting ready to hurl himself into the cauldron. He doesn't really hurl himself in the cauldron. He's willing to go into the cauldron, and then the structure that they're standing on breaks, and he falls into the cauldron.
Yeah,
which really takes the hero's death out of it.
He's like, you know what? It's like,
but so he falls in the cauldron. Whoosh, and now
Gurgi's dead.
Gurgi's dead. Gurgi threw himself into the cauldron. Gurgi, this character that you've has done nothing to endear himself to you, has a hero's death.
And you're like, and so your only reaction is like, all right,
good for you, man. All right, well, and this the spell starts reversing itself. The army just starts falling off the bridge, collapsing. I like the scene where Creeper and the Horned King are in the hallway yelling at the skeleton.
Yes.
It's such a good scene. He's like picking up a skeleton by like the scruff of his neck and yelling at it and shaking him. And
like it's a puppy.
It's just, and Creeper's even doing it too. Like, give me something. It's funnier than it's supposed to be, but it's a hilarious scene. So it is unclear to me exactly what's happening in this scene, because it's like it's reversing the spell,
right?
And it's creating like a vortex of energy into the cauldron. And so like Terran is trying to hold himself in from like grabbing onto a pillar so he doesn't get sucked in. But then like the Horned King is like, no, man, I'm throwing you in there, and like grabs him and throws him down. It seems like it's inconsistent with how the cauldron is sucking things in.
Yeah.
Because like he's giving like kind of a monologue to Taryn, but then all of a sudden he just like instantly starts freaking out because the cauldron is now pulling him in.
Yeah.
Like without
And
any without any sort of like break in between it. It's just like sudden.
yeah.
And
And
so he starts,
boy,
yeah,
when it sucks him in,
it is easily
Grizzly.
it's easily Disney's most grisly character death ever, like to this day, because the camera doesn't cut away. Usually, like most times, most character deaths like tend to like cut away, or there's like, or even in the case of the Lion King, you don't see him get trampled, but you do see the animals and you see dust cloud. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
this one, it really is like he's clinging to the edge of the cauldron as his skin is getting torn off his body,
Yeah.
like his dead skin or whatever. Like he is a zombie
His
essentially,
dead cells.
but but yeah, he's just like getting just like this ultra grit, and as he's screaming in
Yeah.
agony,
It's almost
and
like tote level.
yeah, it is genuinely like oh boy, uh,
He pretty much melts in the cauldron.
yeah. Um, and so it sucks him in, and now the cat, so the Horned King is destroyed. Uh, Creeper is like, oh god, oh wait,
I'm
yay!
free.
And so he gets off. The castle is doing its typical Ocarina of Time. You defeated the evil. Also, now you got to go.
Yeah.
So they get out there, and as the castle's collapsing, and when they're escaping, they come across, they find the boat or the whatever the vessel that's
Right.
down there, and then they like notice as they're going through, they notice that the gate is unlocked. It's locked. You got to get the chain off the gate. Did you notice immediately thereafter the chain was still on the gate?
I did
he,
not.
so he takes the chain off. The camera pans back as they're doing other stuff, and he's like rocks and stuff are falling, and the chain is still on the gate. and, and then they do another pan, and when they finally see the boat moving, it's open and everything is in there. It's like, oh man, so you screwed that one up. You screwed up that continuity. It's like a quick little thing, but like I immediately was drawn to it.
The Black Cauldron is also a locksmith on the side.
Yeah. So yeah, so they get out of there. They break free. And they like I forget where they find themselves. Like to get on their, they make landfall eventually, right? Like
Yeah. And then they run into the witches again.
yeah, after they make landfall on their little boat or whatever, the witches
Yeah.
come up and they're like, "All right, well, that was interesting. Give us the cauldron. We're taking the cauldron back." And they're like, "You're not taking the cauldron back. We need to make a bargain here."
And they're like, well, technically, yeah, but
Yeah, so they try to give him the sword back, but Taryn doesn't accept it because he wants Gurgi back because he
which
sacrificed himself. Which, okay,
uh,
so inevitably, they finally just like, all right, fine. Here's the stupid dog.
after the bard's like, you guys aren't powerful enough.
Yeah. After playing, it's like oh, I get it. You can't bring him back because you're not powerful enough. And,
He just pretty much like duck seasons them.
yeah, duck season, rabbit season kind of situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get the so they finally just take the cauldron and plop Gurgi's just limp corpse onto the beach. It's it is a very well animated dead body.
Yeah.
When he picks up Gurgi and it's just limp and motionless.
Where do they resurrect Gurgi from?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like where did his body come from? He's
What's
clearly dead at first, and I don't know what Taryn like. He's like shoving his face, like crying into Gurgi, but it's very awkwardly animated. Like,
yeah. It's like you barely know this thing.
Yeah. But oh, surprise, surprise, Gurgi's alive. Because he tries reaching into Taryn's shirt trying to find the apple from earlier. Just crunches and munchies. And yeah, so Gergie's back. Uh, forces Link and Zelda to kiss.
Yep.
Uh, and they all four just walk off into the sunset. Uh,
And
and
old guy and Henry are like,
are watching it from their creepy farm where this all was orchestrated years ago.
they're watching it from their pot of Kool-Aid, like, cool, everything is as I have foreseen it. Like, no, no.
Like, no, trust me when I tell you, based on the production of this movie, it was not.
Yeah.
And yeah, boy, let's talk about. I feel like a giant can of worms was opened up with this ending because you've undone everything.
Yep.
Like, that should theoretically bring the Horned King back, I would think, or restore the power to the Cauldron, because you basically uh, used the Infinity Gauntlet to reverse time.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like the sequel to this is how devastating the space time continuum is being left from.
The Horde King comes back, like,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
like a super shredder, like, or something.
yeah, yeah. Apparently, the Horned King isn't like the main villain of the books. Like, it's just like a minor villain, not even minor, but like a mini boss.
Okay.
Yeah. So, um, uh, yeah, that's if that movie sounded like we were disjointed and confused about what happened, it's because that's how it is. It's disjointed, and we're relatively confused as to what happened throughout that movie. It is
It's 8
nonsensical.
minutes of what?
Yeah, it's 80 minutes of just going from like it's like a stage play. It's just like, okay, actors on to the next scene or whatever. It's without any
But
rhyme or reason to why they're there most of the time.
but like not a good stage play.
Yeah,
Like
like
one of the ones that you see
yeah,
from like your local theater troupe at the melodrama. Like,
yeah,
oh God.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's the local improv troupe trying something new. Uh,
Okay. Who in
yeah,
the audience has a thing?
yeah. Where? What's? I need somebody to name us a job.
Prostitute. Yeah, right.
like, we need a job. Pig farmer. All right, pig farmer. We got
Pig
that. We
farmer.
can do it. Yeah. Now a location. Like, turn of the century.
Yes.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. So, boy, it's crazy. It's a crazy movie. It's gorgeous, and I
Beautifully
kind,
animated.
beautiful. I kind of love it.
I told you when I was watching, like, I kind of like this movie.
Yeah, I recognize it as not good, but also like this is one heck of a movie to watch. Like there's just limitless potential with it that it goes mostly unrealized, except for like the character designs and everything. So it's
I I
it's
think
it's
I think most of the frustration with the movie comes from more of a what could have been
yeah,
standpoint.
yeah. So yeah, the the actress that plays the princess in this, um, not particularly. Like, you look at the casting of a lot of these things, and John Hurt's like the biggest name in it. Um, she's done voiceover stuff before, but mostly for like children's things, like uh, Muzzy, like British stuff, weird, like
Okay.
yeah, like nothing, nothing major. Like two movies ever: The Black Cauldron and a 2000 uh, movie called Einstein. So, but not about Albert Einstein, different
Oh,
Einstein.
I was like that really got really weird stop motion Einstein.
But yeah, like and uh, who else? I'm trying to think of like the guy that played Taron doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, so that tells you something. Uh,
All right, I'm gonna pull up IMDb here. God,
yeah,
that clip looks like Zelda. Like Karen's dressed in green.
yeah, and Jeff Jarrett in this was again just like, yeah, he's been in some stuff, but again, very British, so a lot of stuff that we don't
Oh,
know. So
okay. So Flim Flam is Nigel Hawthorne.
yes,
So he is. Looking at his Wikipedia or his IMDb,
yeah.
you know what stands out to me?
Hmm.
He's the dude. He's like the weird like cult leader priest guy from Demolition Man.
All right,
He's
sure.
he Dr. Raymond. Yeah, he's the guy who like recruits Simon.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right,
He's like,
yeah,
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 there you go. So Demolition Man.
yeah. Also, for you, you'll. I looked at his video games section, and he's the voice of Professor Porter in the Disney's Tarzan uh, computer game from for the 1990.
Oh, great! They made a video
He's
game
not.
off a
He's
terrible
he's
movie.
he's not in Tarzan. He's just in the Tarzan video game.
Well, I mean, can you blame him for not wanting to be in Tarzan?
So, so yeah. I mean, not a massive cast, but you know.
You're not gonna. I mean, besides Hurt, you're not gonna really.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a fun movie. I
Yeah,
like this movie a lot.
it feels like a mid '80s movie.
Yeah. I just looked up the guy that plays Creeper in it.
Yeah.
He's the guy that does the voice of Creeper is a dwarf actor.
Okay.
Uh, he is best known for his performance in the horror comedy Bordello of Blood, as
Okay.
well as his roles in The Black Cauldron, Troll, and Willow.
Oh. Oh,
He
so
is.
he's who's he in Willow?
I'm trying to. I'm trying to see if it says where he is in Willow, because it doesn't have like his filmography listed on his Wikipedia page. So, um,
Because that had Warwick Davis and Billy Barty in it.
yeah, he was an Ewok in Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
uh, he was a friend of Michael Gerber in the Disney Sunday movie Fuzz Bucket, which I absolutely recognize Fuzz Bucket. He appeared in Troll. In 1970, he played Sir Nigel Pennywise in Ghoulies 2. Okay. Greasy Greg in the Garbage Pail Kids movie.
Oh, good lord.
In
Uh,
1988's Willow, he appeared alongside Warwick Davis. That's all it says.
he's there.
Yeah. So yeah, and he had a recurring role in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which I absolutely, as Roland, which I absolutely remember. So you know, just a prominent actor from.
I guess prominent.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
sure.
he had his SAG card.
Yeah,
That's the important thing.
yeah. You know, and he got a Disney movie under his
There you go.
under his credit. So yeah. So oh, where to start with this movie? Let's talk about like the production of it because it was an absolute mess. Um,
I'm gonna lay out, let you run through this nonsense.
yeah. So they bought the rights to these books in the 70s, early 70s. Um, and they started working on it um, like in 1973, from what I recall. Um, Ollie, and Frank and Ollie were the ones that were sort of uh, like we got to do this one. Like this could be like the next big Disney thing. If we pull this off, this will be huge for us. Um, but you know, it's a multi-book series. It's 5 books. Like, where do you start with something like that? Like, you're gonna have to just like commit to it, and they clearly never did. Um, what was it? I think it was Ron Miller. Ron Miller was the one that shelved it, which
Mhm.
was pre-Eisner. Ron Miller was Walt's son-in-law, who took over as CEO of Disney after he passed. Um, and it was just like, no, we can't do this movie. Right? There's too much going on. The animators can't. There's like it's just not there yet. Um, so uh, it's like a release date was eventually like switched. So it was like we're gonna have to put things off. So it was going to come out as Fox and the Hound, but then Fox and the Hound got pushed forward while they kept working on this movie after they finally picked it back up in like like 78 is when they decided like this will be our 84 movie because they plan things out like a decade in advance sometimes.
Long-term booking.
Yeah, it's really what it is. Because at the time the studio wasn't good at animating humans. That because they just focused like think about all the movies we've been working on for these shows recently. It's all mostly animal based, and like even Fox and the Hound, like the humans sort of they are what they are, but they're not the humans.
They kind of follow a Disney formula
Yeah.
from like 10 years before, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just so hard because up until like Eisner takes over, this movie is just sort of in production. There's like it's like figuring things out. They're doing storyboards. They come back like, no, this is terrible. We can't do this. We have to do something else. Okay, put Fox and the Hound in there where we figure out human stuff, and it's just a mess from the get go.
Do you think that's what contributed to the budget?
Oh, absolutely. This movie was it was a stop and go nightmare. Like out the gate, like once they started it out and everything, it was just stopping. I think this one's based off of like the first two books or something, like vaguely, kind of, not really, but
does this make you want to read the books?
No, I've said it before. Sword and sorcery, like fantasy fiction, isn't really my cup of tea for the most part. So, which is funny considering that's like the bread and butter of Disney stuff early on, but it's kind of different. It's a different kind of fantasy, and very rarely is there a lot of like it never really focuses on the action aspect of things or like the politics of a sword and sorcery universe or whatever, you know. So, yeah, but yeah, so you know, and it's one of those things like the original creators were having problems, so it's like, all right, we're just gonna start working on Great Mouse Detective instead. So she was what is it? The Princess Elwani? I forget what the,
I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it either. Yeah. But it's like they eventually once the animators started getting back into the groove of like human characters and are like designs are tossed out left and right. Just like these, you know, like Tim Burton submitted some character designs. Like, no, these are nope.
Yeah, he's not credited, but Tim Burton was also did Pee-wee's Big Adventure the same year this came out too. So
yeah, and also this movie is credited to why he ditched traditional animation entirely, because it was just a miserable experience working on this movie. And it's like, I mean, after this, if Tim Burton's working on animation, it's stop motion. Like that's his passion.
This is what we get. Frankenweenie and Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas and all that stuff. Because, like, yeah, this movie was so terrible for him, this experience for him, that he ditched just like this killed traditional. It's like CM Punk in professional wrestling. I worked for WWE, and it ruined wrestling for me. So now I'm a mixed martial artist now. So,
well, although Tim Burton had more,
at least Tim Burton had some success in his post career.
Yeah,
as an animator.
Although Alice in Wonderland is his Mickey Gall.
But CM Punk also has done some decent comic books, which I guess would be like it should be Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas.
And I think he hosts like one of the Ultimate Beastmasters or something like that.
Yeah, and he's got a movie coming out. So
There you go.
eventually things, you're not everything's going to be a home run. You
No.
know, for every Nightmare Before Christmas, you're going to get an Alice in Wonderland. It's bound to
Yeah.
happen. The best of us. I mean, look at Disney made a bunch of great movies, but then they also made The Fox and the Hound. So,
Yeah.
so uh, the yeah, everything like you just read about like if you look at like making of things, you just read like this guy submitted this character design. They hated it, so they gave it to this guy, and he fixed it up, but they still wanted more. It's like the Horned King was too gaunt or something, so they put a hood up over him or something, and it's like, and then they gave him red eyes, and like it's all that. It's Princess Aurora. The princess in this movie they eventually kept redesigning until she's basically just Princess Aurora. Like if you compare her to Aurora from Sleeping Beauty, Briar
Right.
Rose, or whatever you want to call her, she looks exactly like her, just with shorter hair.
So for the longest time until we really got in this podcast and I started talking
Yeah.
to you, I always assumed that this was a Don Bluth movie because
No,
it looks like a Don Bluth movie.
But I mean, and you got to kind of wonder if that's just where animation was at the time, and that's why like Don Bluth has that style because he was like that's where he was like because what like he tuned his art style at the Disney Studios before he went off on his own, and Disney movies like even ones where he was kind of vaguely involved in they look like Don Bluth movies.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell like chicken and an egg thing. Like does Don Bluth stuff look like that because that's what Disney stuff was, or does Disney stuff look like that because that's what Don Bluth was doing, and they just sort of adapted to that because he was a good artist, or is it a bit of both? And
Well,
clearly it's like a bit of both in an instance. Like this movie, like he's not there anymore, but he's clearly this is what's being influenced at the time. Like because Secret of Nim was out before
82.
this. Yeah, so.
Well, it's your question. This movie was in production for a long time. Do you think he had worked on it at all?
Oh, I don't think so because the movie wasn't really. He wouldn't have been on the team. Like if it was a Frank and Ollie at the gate, I don't think he would have been on the Frank and Ollie team at the time.
Okay.
That would have been the experienced team, and he would have been on the B team.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, this movie became the B team movie, or not? No, this movie eventually became like because everyone left, became like the B team working on everything.
Right.
But they didn't really change a whole lot. They were still doing the A/B stuff because they were working on Great Mouse Detective at the exact same time this movie was being developed. Because for animation wise, they introduced this movie introduced animation photo transfer process, which is a way of like it's kind of like the evolution of Xerox, where they're able to like use transfer paper essentially to create the backgrounds and stuff. And help streamline that process.
Everything kind of takes on like a color form just look.
Yeah.
Like color,
yeah. And then also this movie features CGI, which we mentioned earlier. It's not the first. It's not the first one, but as we said earlier, this is they were doing them at the same time. So Great Mouse Detective is the first to use it, but didn't come out first. It comes out after this movie. But this is the first one that comes out to theaters using CGI. This movie has a very it's got a very notable story that goes along with it. That's probably one of the most like commonly recited stories of where Disney was in the 80s after Michael Eisner took over.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael Eisner took over, and it was Michael Eisner with Jeffrey Katzenberg was like his underling. It was his creeper too. Michael Eisner was the Horned King, and Katzenberg was his creeper. So he was like just freshly appointed chairman of Disney. You know, he was like a studio chairman, Katzenberg, and they do a test screening of the movie, and the story goes that Roy Disney was relatively like he was like we can't like he's like oh that's well what if we did something else kind of like he was a little more accepting of it, but clearly you could tell there was a issue with this movie.
He was more diplomatic.
He was more diplomatic about it. That it was just so dark. But Katzenberg, there's not a bone in his body that can be diplomatic. They thought it was just way too intense. The scene in question is the Cauldron born, in particular, when the dead are rising and everything.
Right.
I find that's a very intense scene, and kids are going to hate that scene. And apparently that was kind of the case. Like kids were leaving, like were crying at showings of this movie, like leave. But Katzenberg demanded the movie be edited. Like you have to edit out, you have to cut out these scenes, and there's the animator's like, that's not how this works. You can't just go in and like a movie and cut up cells. And
there's a cohesive plot.
Or you just can't cut things out and tape them back together and consider because the way animation works, it just doesn't, you can't do that, Jeffrey. And he's like, I can do that. Katzenberg goes into the editing bay himself and starts cutting up the movie. The way the movie was made, so the way they did things, it's like they're edited in storyboards. You take the storyboards and you edit it that way.
Right.
Because you can't, because once it's shot on the film, you cut something up and you can really mess up the animation itself. I mean, weird cuts and stuff. With film and stuff, you can sort of line things up a little differently when it's live actors, and you can do fade ins and fade outs and things. You can use
and you have different camera angles and
camera angles and multiple takes even for things that you can cut in to help. But you can't do that with a cartoon. And so eventually they're like Hale inevitably calls Eisner and is like, you have to do something. He is in the editing bay destroying the movie. He is cutting up the movie. And so Eisner calls Katzenberg and is like, get out of there. Stop it. But you got to get out. You just stop it. You have to go. You're ruining the relationship with the animators, first of all. But Katzenberg was still unhappy with the movie altogether and demanded the movie be changed in many ways. So the movie was supposed to come out in Christmas that year, but they pushed it to when it came out in the summer of '85.
Summer of '85.
Yeah. Apparently 12 minutes were cut from the movie.
And they've never resurfaced in any form.
Yeah, for the most part. I think bits and pieces might have, but Katzenberg went in there and cut the hell out of some stuff. So, and most of it was Cauldron born stuff. So
we have the 40th anniversary coming up in what, 6 years?
Yeah.
Now that would be the time to throw that stuff in there.
Yeah. So it's a story that everyone tells about sort of where the studio was at the time and how these people had come in who knew nothing about cartoons, trying to tell a bunch of animators how to do their jobs. And it tends to be one of those stories that goes around as to this is what the Eisner era of Disney was.
Just like corporate guys, just like, you don't know how this works, but we're going to tell you how it works with money.
Yeah, we've had successful movies before. We know how to make successful movies. So this is how you make successful movies. And uh, at the time, at this stage in Disney with Michael Eisner, Frank Wells was there. It was a joint thing. You had Eisner and Frank Wells. Um, so they worked very well together. Um, Unfortunately, Frank Wells died in a helicopter crash in '94, and things get a little hairy after that. Um, Particularly between Eisner and Katzenberg after Wells's passing. I don't know if it'll be able to fit in some ways, but after Wells's passing, Katzenberg wanted that position. Um, and it was a contentious point. Like that's what inevitably led to Katzenberg's dismissal from the studio
And going on to DreamWorks. Well, didn't Katzenberg famously not want to do Lion King?
Yeah, I mean, Katzenberg.
I remember the story about him not wanting to do it.
Yeah, he didn't. Katzenberg didn't ever want to really do anything that wasn't like his idea. So we'll get to that at a point because he does play a role in several movies going forward. Him and Eisner, especially with budgets and stuff. So it's so hard to be angry at Katzenberg because he was jerked around by Eisner and team, but also at the same time, Katzenberg is also sort of well known as being just sort of a beast to work with, especially during his. He wanted to make a name for himself at Disney, and can't blame him for that. But he went about it in a rough way with the animators, making enemies with the animators, and especially making enemies with Roy Disney. And during all of this, Roy Disney, who was he was the son of Walt's, brother Roy, not the original Roy, but and the treatment that they gave Roy was inevitably their downfall.
Well, I mean, Katzenberg, even when he went to DreamWorks, he that rep followed him, and he still had
he still had that rep, and he was gonna always have that rap and that reputation behind him. But Eisner's reputation will forever be like in the public eye, be tarnished by what he did and every mistake he made at Disney. And out the gate, it was this movie, The Black Cauldron, which, as we said, $44 million budget. Its box office is $21 million. It didn't even make half of its money back.
So saying it was a failure is an understatement.
Oh, and it was such a failure. Like during around this time, you're looking at the animations department wasn't making money. It was always on the verge of being shut down. The studio was always on the verge of being bought out.
Which is crazy to think about in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things Michael Eisner gets credit for, is that he staved off a Viacom buyout for Disney. Like, it was a big deal. He was able to, stop that from happening and sort of save the studio. But at the same time, he also created some disastrous situations for the studio. Things like, they lost Pixar at a point. Which at this point in time, clearly Pixar's, that technology is on the rise. Or
this is when Steve Jobs was at Pixar, right?
Yeah. Or what else? The whole Euro Disney debacle at a time where the studios were making more money than they've ever made. They're losing just as much because of some bad business decisions in Disney theme park expansion. Euro Disney was a failure. Hong Kong Disney was a failure. They tried to do Club Disney and Disney Quest, expansions that were failures. Um, the Club Disney one is hilarious, and the Disney Quest in particular is hilarious because it is very clearly Disney. It's very clearly Michael Eisner wanting to just be petty as all get out against Jeffrey Katzenberg because the Disney Quest stuff was happening at the same time. GameWorks were popping up.
Uh-huh.
And what's the connection with GameWorks to Jeffrey Katzenberg?
Yeah, DreamWorks, GameWorks. There you go.
Yeah, it was a joint between DreamWorks and Sega.
Sega, yeah.
And yeah,
who also made some questionable decisions during this period.
during the 90s, during the mid 90s, Sega made some quite preposterous decisions. So, bad time for big businesses on top of the world. But yeah, this it's Michael Eisner not getting out of the gate real nice in terms of the animation studio stuff.
Not entirely his fault either.
Not entirely his fault, but unleashing Katzenberg into the animation studios
was 100% his fault.
Was 100% his fault, and it's it's not like those 12 minutes were going to save this movie, but I think the chaos that comes in, like when you have a management change on top of also having this management telling you this movie cannot be released this way, but also offering nothing to help fix it. Like Katzenberg's plan was to cut stuff out of the movie, which that was going to fix anything. So except make it less spooky.
Well, also at this point, we talked about Secret of Nim. So for the longest time, Disney had been like, okay, we're the animation studio. This is our crown. And all of a sudden, here comes Don Bluth.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe now they have a strong contender.
Yeah. And there's some serious insult that goes on with the release of this movie. So movie came out in 85. It cost $44 million to produce. We said, it was a $44 million budget, which is insane. At like we said last time, like we said at the beginning of the show, Fox and the Hound was a $12 million budget, and that was considered the most expensive Disney cartoon ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And so this, not even doubles it. Like, you're tripling almost. You know what I mean? It made $21 million. So it was a major loss, and it's to this day, people like me who read Disney stuff and know everything about the ins and outs of that studio can know that this is the movie that it's dubbed the movie that almost killed Disney. They were on the verge of shutting down the animation studio because live action film and television were a big thing for Disney at the time.
Right.
And
Wonderful Disney.
Wonderful Disney and television stuff and live action movies were huge. And we'll get into some of the movies that came out in 85 later on, and some of them are Disney films. It wasn't even the highest grossing cartoon of the year. You know what movie beat this movie?
Care Bears.
Care Bears.
Yeah.
The Care Bears movie made $23 million. So
it's also a weird time. You have so many more things that kind of vie for people's attention. So now you have cable television. More people have cable at 85. People have VCR, so they can go rent movies. And
you can go see a better Disney movie on your own.
in about 3 months, you're going to have the Nintendo come out.
Yeah.
So there's just things that I don't have to go to the movies. I don't want to. The experience is not there as it like it used to be.
Yeah. And this was also noted as after this movie came out, the animators were moved out of the Burbank studios to Glendale. So, so not a great time to be an animator at Disney. But in the mid '90s, they get to come back to Burbank. So the mid '90s, after they've had a string of massive successes, they're finally allowed back into the
Yeah, it's like, welcome
into the
back, friend.
yeah, and back they're able to sit at the big kids table
Yep.
at Thanksgiving now.
You
So
got us away from the iceberg, so
yeah, so um, yeah, poorly received at the time of release, except by one critic. Absolutely loved this movie.
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Close. Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert loved this movie. Like,
Really?
yeah, he genuinely like thought this movie was great. Um, I think he gave it. Oh, was it? I can't remember how many stars exactly. Let's see if I can see it right now. Let's see.
Just like
Three and
I
a
think you say,
Yeah, 3.5 stars. He gave this movie three and a
ah,
half stars out of 4. He loved this movie, and I think he called it like the best movie since Pinocchio or something.
the
Like,
best Disney movies is Pinocchio.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
a huh.
and his review has some fun things in it. The story was so involving. That one moment, allegedly mature adult in the audience leaned over to me and whispered, uh, "But, but Raj, if the pig is really psychic, how come they just can't find out where the cauldron is and get there before the king?" A good point, but a better point is, how long has it been since anyone took a Disney cartoon seriously?
So I'm sure if nothing else, it was good for back of the video VHS box blurbs.
Yeah, so yeah, Roger Ebert loved uh, the Black Cauldron, which is just kind of a funny little, like, every once in a while there's that one thing that Roger Ebert loved this movie that everyone hates, because just like anyone, Roger Ebert loves bad things every once in a while.
Yeah. I think you're say for some reason I thought you were gonna say Gene Shalit because he loved everything.
Yeah, well, he just wrote every review. He just whatever his uh, humorous headline was is how he would write his review, whether it be positive or negative. So
More like Lack Cauldron.
yeah, exactly. Um, uh, and obviously, like, Katzenberg had his after it came out. Like of course it wasn't good. It didn't have any humor. There was no music. There was no anything.
I wasn't directly involved.
Yeah. Um, but the story had been a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it was heartbreaking to see such wonderful material wasted. And it's, yeah, I can see that.
I mean, they could still do it if they wanted
Yeah,
to, in
yeah, but
theory.
but like, and people that went to go see the movie hated it because A, it was an incredibly dark Disney movie, and B, people like familiarity with Disney, and there's not even a song in this movie.
No,
And
there's barely a soundtrack.
yeah, it's so you know, people hated it. Um, the score was very well received, like, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the score, Um, but it's considered, like, by film historians, um, one of Elmer Bernstein's like best scores of
Yeah.
all time.
Well,
So you know,
I didn't know it was Elmer Bernstein until like the end of the
yeah,
movie
yeah,
because like I was like this music sounds like Ghostbusters. And I was
yeah,
like, oh, it's Elmer Bernstein. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, all
yeah.
right,
Guess
yeah,
guess guess why it sounds like Ghostbusters?
yeah. Because it totally does sound like
Yeah,
Ghostbusters in some scenes.
yeah,
The
uh,
the zither
yeah. I mean, like, he had just come up because, like, what, it's
year after.
Ghostbusters. Yeah, year after Ghostbusters, and this is a couple
Yeah,
years after Trading Places.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, yeah. People consider it one of his best scores. It's a really good score. It's just kind of non-existent overall in the film because the film's so just kind of quiet. Um, but yeah, it's good. I recommend just kind of um, listen to it once on its own and just sort of
Yeah.
really appreciate um, how it is. It's genuinely a very good. It got re-released. They got re-released recently in like 2012 or something because you know how Disney stuff is. It's only been released twice. It was released once in '85 and once in 2012. So.
Well, I mean, just to tell you, like, you know, about that score, if people were considering it's one of his best works, keep in mind Albert Bernstein did the Magnificent Seven theme.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah. So. Ooh.
It's my son.
Hey.
That's my son.
He wandered in the room.
The Disney bread and butter children.
Well, yeah, but not the Black Cauldron bread and butter.
Yeah, no. So yeah, and this is another one of those movies where it's been released on. It's only been released like 3 times. Its initial release. It's like initial release, an early DVD, and then like an anniversary DVD.
Like 25th anniversary DVD?
Yeah. And like 25th anniversary DVD is the way to go.
Yeah.
If you find it, if you can get this movie for $10-15, I recommend it. I think it's a very neat movie. And the anniversary set fixes some stuff, and it's anamorphic, which the other DVD isn't.
Yeah, I went looking at FYE for a used copy of it because it's kind of hard to find.
Yeah, because again, 2008 was the last release of this movie. Over a decade ago was the last release of this movie on home video. I mean, you can get it digitally. I mean, that's kind of not fun.
Do you get the extras with the digital version though?
I guess it depends on where you buy it. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so home video stuff, some good releases that it's got deleted scenes and stuff. I haven't ever watched the deleted scenes, so I actually don't know what's on there.
Be good to check out though.
Yeah. Theme park.
Yeah.
Theme park. Getting into the legacy stuff.
All right. Because this is fun.
This is fun. So initially now, we like to talk, is there a ride?
No, but.
No, but. There's an asterisk. First of all, they did have costume characters, just like every movie will have costume characters after its release. Disney World did have a place where you could eat called Gurgi's Munchies and Crunchies.
I could see that.
It's been renamed a bunch of times because it's just a little easy thing. It was they closed it and it became Lumiere's Kitchen, then the Village Fry Shop, and now it's Friar's Nook. But that's all pales in comparison to what Tokyo Disneyland got. It's a year after this movie came out in the U.S. Tokyo Disneyland opened up an attraction in their castle. They have a version of Cinderella's castle at Tokyo Disneyland. And it was empty at first. There was nothing in there. There was a rumored attraction to go in there that was going to be like a castle walkthrough, fantasy castle walkthrough. And when it opened up, opened up as the Cinderella Castle Mystery Tour. A very unassuming name.
It got the Beatles in it.
Yeah, it's the Magical Mystery Tour. They're gonna sing "Your Mama Should Know," "Your Mother Should Know," and then and then "All You Need Is Love," and then Mickey Mouse is gonna come out
as the Blue Meanie.
That's the Blue Meanie, yes. No, yeah. So it's a walkthrough attraction that starts off as like a tour of the castle. Hey, here's our wall of heroes, and like it has, and it's funny to see it because like there's footage of it, and Defunct Land, the YouTube channel that I've mentioned on here before, has a really good history of this attraction on it and has a lot of footage of it. And it's funny because like it's got this wall of heroes, and then the last picture is Terran on the wall of heroes.
You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, so like if you had no idea this existed and you're watching this, um, and you see Terran's picture, it's like the Black Cauldron kid. Why is he? And then you quickly realize like, oh, that's why. Uh, so it starts off with that, and then like the magic mirror appears in the ride or walkthrough. Terrifying. I think Nick saw it too, so he can attest.
Yes, it
It's
is.
terrifying.
Yeah, that's a bit unnerving.
It's funny because it has like this um, kabuki quality to it a little bit.
Which you said like Japanese ghost houses are like a popular thing.
Yeah,
So
like just look at their films, look at their horror films. There's a lot of like it's all ghost stuff, anyways.
yeah,
But apparently it was what was it? It's they assumed that a Japanese actor would look out of place for the magic mirror, so they had an American actor phonetically lip syncing
Japanese
the
lines. Yeah,
Japanese lines in the makeup. So when they filmed it, it was like it was an American face, but phonetically speaking, and dubbed over as Japanese.
yes, which is makes it more creepy.
Yeah. Um, and apparently they had a walk around character based on the Magic Mirror too.
No, thank you.
Which I'm like, no, it'd be like that episode of The Simpsons. I'd be arrested at Itchy and Scratchy.
So,
Your
Mr.
older-
Magic Mirror, think you're God's gift of women, eh?
yeah. Your older, fatter, balder son has also been arrested.
Taryn, drink the water.
Yeah, but yeah, so and then it goes through this like increasingly spookier ghost house until you get to the Horned King with his cauldron, literally threatening to kill the entire tour.
And we're saying Horned King, a giant animatronic Horned King.
A giant full-sized animatronic Horned King with a full-sized cauldron in front of him, threatening to murder the entire audience. Like
basically saying, I'm going to sacrifice all of you.
Yeah.
Not, I'm going to kill you, but
yeah,
the implications there.
Yeah. We know how the Black Cauldron works. And apparently that was like one of the things is like the tour itself, as the tour guide is going through there, is recounting the story of the Black Cauldron because nobody saw the Black Cauldron. So he also had
I'm going to give you some context for this terrifying thing about to happen.
Yeah. And like it is a stunning piece of animatronics. It I wish I could have seen it.
Yeah, I would have loved to see it.
It looks so good and it's terrifying. Like the Horned King design is genuinely terrifying.
Yes, it is.
And it looks great. And there it is. It's like, in reality, right there, threatening to murder you into the cauldron.
So let's have this young child. Let's give him the sword.
Yeah.
The Master Sword.
Yeah.
Just to save us all.
Yeah. So, eventually that ride closed down. And in 2006, like it had a 30-year run.
Yeah. Well, the Defunctland video, did he say like it costs like so much to maintain it?
Yeah.
And it was like, well, this is a movie that didn't do very well. Nobody remembers it. Why are we spending this money to on the upkeep of this ride?
And at this point, by 2006, Tokyo Disney was in need of sort of revitalization, so it makes sense to shut it down.
Yeah.
But it's just been replaced with what the tour was supposed to be, like the nice, tour of the castle, like fantasy, everything's good and nice and lovely,
and not a Dio video.
Yeah, not just this super metal video. So yeah, an absolute crazy attraction was born of this, and I highly recommend searching out the Defunctland video on YouTube. It's fascinating. When it was time to start like watching this movie, I sent that to Nick. I was like, "You have to watch this just for the episode of the podcast. You're getting to see this.
And all it is made me want to go on that, did see that experience.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it closed 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. So,
I mean, do you think that the Horn King animatronic is in mothballs somewhere?
I doubt it.
Or they just repurposed the parts, or
well, that's it's Tokyo Disneyland, which isn't operated by Disney.
Oh, the Tokyo.
It's the Tokyo Land Company.
Yeah.
Operated. So I don't know if they have the same reverence to keeping that stuff around. They could. I don't know. Or it could also be America Sings, where it's strip the skin off of it, put another coat over it, and then make it a droid in Galaxy's Edge somewhere or something.
Yeah.
It's because what was it? It was the couple of the maintenance droids in the original Star Tours were stripped gooses from America Sings, the ones that didn't make it in the Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would like to think some executive who's you know what, I'm taking it home.
Taking it home. It's going to be the Rock-afire explosion, where just some weirdo has it in his shed somewhere, and it and the Cauldron are just constantly running in his shed, and
he sinks it up to Fergie's London Bridge.
Yeah. the Horned King demands you get down.
Yes.
And then the Rock-afire explosion takes the stage and performs something from the Black Eyed Peas. But video games.
I assume, most of the time, Kingdom Hearts.
I don't. Yeah. Actually, this had a full-blown video game, and not just a simple little Nintendo vaguely themed at the time, because it's 1985. It wasn't really a thing. But what was a thing was computer games. And Sierra made a Black Cauldron adventure game.
This is their first licensed video game, right?
Yes. It's this and the Dark Crystal were the only two that they adapted. And it came out very, very shortly, because this is 80, it came out in 86.
Yeah.
Was the King's Quest from Sierra came out in 19. Boy, when did King's Quest come out, huh?
Probably
84. 84. I think 84. Yeah, there we go.
Put me on the spot there, sorry.
May of 84, so yeah. So, this is just a couple of years after King's Quest, so it's basically King's Quest.
But, by the way, the game is a simple Google search. You can find it.
Yeah, it's a Sierra game. Sierra games are notoriously easy to find with a simple Google search in a fully playable. It was running off of an Apple II or MS-DOS. I'm pretty sure archive.org.
Archive.org or whatever. Well, actually, actually, it looks like you might really get it right off the Sierra. Oh, never mind. This is a fan site, not the actual site. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
out there.
It's a movie. It's a game based off of the movie, and it has multiple endings. So it's
which is unique.
Which was super unique. It was a big deal that Maniac Mansion had multiple endings.
So this preceded Maniac Mansion or Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah, I mean, if Maniac Mansion would have been 87.
Yeah.
So so yeah, and it's got really cool. It looks like, if you look at the cover for the, looking at the cover for the Tandy version, it looks almost like a book on tape book cover or something. Almost it's got that two-tone gradient cover kind of thing like Teddy Ruxpin books came
Oh yeah, well, which kind of you have to see it, yeah. It actually kind of reminds me, as far as merch, for whatever reason, because I didn't see this movie when it came out.
Yeah,
I had the storybook, back in the 80s, Disney did a bunch of these kids'
Yeah.
story picture books. And I had this for reasons that I cannot explain.
Because it was a Disney something, and I'm certain
Yeah. A
I'm certain
relative got it
either
from me.
a
Yeah.
relative got it, or you saw the Disney logo as a kid and wanted
Yeah.
it, or something. There's always different. Like, I have weird books on tape that still float around. I have uh, a book on tape that is Super Mario Brothers,
Okay.
but it's uh, not the comic books.
Yes.
So it's an audio adaptation of the Super Mario Brothers comic books on tape, and I'm like, it makes no it's terrible.
Which I believe is your pinned tweet, is it
It is
not?
my pinned tweet. If you go to
Yes.
the_double_J, it is still my pinned tweet. I
So
took
it's
the
there.
cassette tape and ripped it, and it's probably the only copy of this on the internet. So if you ever stumble upon my Twitter page, it's
It's
there for you
probably
to
that.
listen to, and it's very fun. Like
I
I would love. I was looking on eBay for kind of stuff for this movie, just to look at merch so we could talk about it. Which is, I guess, as good a place as any. There's none. I mean, there is some, but like one of them was the book on tape for this thing, like with the
right.
storybook and a cassette tape of it. And I'm like, I want to get that. I kind
Yep.
of want to hear what that's like. So I'm probably going to end up buying that. It's not expensive. Um,
And then another piece of merch that is going to be a theme on a couple episodes
oh
for a
yeah,
while. Happy Meal toys.
Happy Meal toy. It was that part. It was that era of Happy Meal toys where it was a character on top of the VHS
VHS.
box
Yeah.
that you
I
could
think it was like a
cook,
Happy Birthday Happy Meals they were called, or what they
something
were.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
and they were designed to be like trains, so they hooked
Yeah.
together, so you could be like a parade situation going on. So yeah,
Robin Hood
Gurgi.
was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so Gurgi. It's Gurgi that
Yeah.
they made the toy
Of
of.
all characters.
Gurgi, and it is the goofiest face on Gurgi.
He's like, ah,
Yeah,
I have an apple.
yeah, eyes wide open, just like, hey guys, want an apple?
So JD and I love Happy Meal merch, but
Yeah.
this is one I will pass on.
I don't know. I may get it. No.
If yeah, just because you're you.
Yeah.
All right.
There were also plushes. I saw plushes of Gurgi, Henwen, and one of the fair folk
Okay.
that the Disney store was selling at the time. And they're kind of nice. I saw like three of them were in like baby cradles,
Okay.
like they were tucked into beds or something. It's like cute little things. I mean, they're old. They have the old like pink and blue neon Disney store logos on them,
Oh, good Lord.
You can pinpoint exactly when these things.
What year that was? Yeah. I think I sent you a text during the movie like, I need action figures of this film.
I would absolutely love. If nothing else, I would love a Horned King like statue
Oh,
or like
yeah.
figurine or anything Horned King.
I want a Horn King figure in the style of like a Marvel Legend or like a Star Wars Black Series or even a Fig Arts,
I was thinking
like a premium.
because they make Kingdom Hearts stuff for
Yeah.
there are Diamond Select Kingdom Hearts figures and stuff that I
Mhm.
saw, and like that'd be cool. So there's like Horned King and Kingdom Hearts something whatever, and with Sora or something.
Yeah, and it should be. I would love just to have it like be like electronic and make sounds or.
Just it would be cool to have like one of those like old like plastic like statue things where you like push a button and it's a little rattly but it makes sounds and
Yeah.
stuff, and like just the Horned King standing behind the cauldron like yelling while the cauldron lights up green and he's moving or something.
So it's basically like one of those old singing Pepsi cans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You turn it's like that dancing Groot that I have where
Yeah.
you can push a button and he just like recites lines from the or like starts dancing to in this Groot case he starts dancing to I Want You Back, but you can also flip the switch and have him dance to whatever music you're playing. So same thing, you can just have the Horned King performing lines, or you can just have him grooving out to uh, uh, ELO or something. I don't know. Whatever horn. I don't know what the Horn King's into. One of those Christopher Lee metal albums.
Yeah, I feel like the Horn King would be into some like dark metal.
Yeah. So one of the Christopher Lee metal albums.
Yes.
I don't know why I think he would appreciate the vocal stylings of Christopher Lee. I feel like John Hurt.
John Hurt. Yeah. Yeah, but it's. I mean, I get why there's no merch, or there's not a lot of merch. I get why there's like
Disney absolutely hates this movie.
It's to put it in perspective, people. This movie is Disney's Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah. Except they're not actively trying to destroy it. They're just pushing it under the rug. It's like they did put it out on DVD twice.
Yeah.
Like,
although technically now the Star Wars holiday special is Disney's Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah. We're the only thing they have released officially one part of the Star Wars holiday special on disc.
The Boba Fett short.
They put the Boba Fett cartoon on the Blu-ray box set.
Yep.
All the stuff. So, yeah, part of it is released officially. So
they have it.
Yeah, it exists in a high definition format, which is the goofiest thing in the world to me. Like, it's like, so you have the cartoon and you cleaned it up. So you're saying I'm not gonna have to watch the Riff Tracks version of
the VHS rip with like the GM Motors commercial.
Union,
yeah, the
Motor Union commercials
yeah,
and stuff.
Automakers of America.
Yeah, just like and like Packard Bell commercials and Jackie Robinson chocolate bars, stuff.
Whatever. Yeah. No, Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson, that's what.
Yeah, the Reggie bar.
The Reggie bar.
Yeah.
Boy, that's. We're not going to talk about that's. I can't make it through the holiday special anymore.
I can only watch it through Riff Tracks, but I still make my wife watch it with me.
That's her punishment for getting married to you. It's.
Enjoy, like, here's this nerdy crap I watch, and here's the crappiest of the crap.
Yeah. So, like, you knew what you were getting into, and I just want to remind you of that.
Yeah. I told you on our first date I have a lot of G.I. Joes, so that's your red flag.
I mean, look, this is 1985. Think about G.I. Joe at the point.
Oh, God. Well, this is like golden age of cartoons.
Yeah. This is so sad, isn't it? The golden age of cartoons, and this is the Disney movie that came out.
Well,
like
what's funny is like the undead army of the Horn King. It's like, God, those remind me of something. And then I saw another movie that came out this year was a Garfield Halloween special. Like, they look at the freaking pirate ghost from Garfield Halloween.
It's completely true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about. So this is 1985. As we're saying, 1985 is. I mean, it's a year and a half for movies. I mean, this is a fantastic year for film. Let's run down the top 10 highest grossing films of the year, shall we?
Yes, let's do that.
The number one highest grossing movie of the year is Back to the Future.
Which already set the bar pretty high.
Yeah. And that movie made $210 million domestic gross.
And I bet you it cost almost as much as Black Cauldron.
Yeah. What is its budget? Oh, no, it cost less than the Black Cauldron.
Holy cats.
It had a budget of $19 million. The Black Cauldron, remember, $44 million.
$44 million.
Rambo, First Blood Part 2.
Not the best Rambo, but a good sequel.
Yeah. $26 million budget, made $300 million, worldwide, $150 million domestic. Rocky 4, Sylvester Stallone having a very good year.
Easily my favorite Rocky.
Yes, I think we that's something we agree on. I don't think it's the best Rocky, but it's my favorite.
But my favorite Rocky.
Yeah, so Rocky 4, with how much did it cost to make Rocky 4? $28 million.
Okay, sure.
The Color Purple,
Critically acclaimed.
critically acclaimed, $15 million budget, made $94 million. Out
Now
of yeah,
musical. Yeah.
Out of Africa, which was the Academy Award winner for that year. So huge movie with um, Robert Redford and Meryl Streep. So a power couple in Hollywood. So, Cocoon.
The very sweet movie.
Very sweet. It's always funny because it's a fantasy comedy drama film, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's funny, but I wouldn't really dub it. It just happens to be funny more than it is.
It's there.
Yeah, it's a Ron Howard movie, so.
Okay, well, there you go.
With Wilford Brimley in it, she can't.
It's the one you think is batteries not included.
Yeah, and there's a sequel to Cocoon. There's Cocoon 2, which I always forget about. I'm like, oh yeah, there's Cocoon 2, isn't there? Oh no, with Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, he was a
coming
thing.
Back. Yeah, remember Steve Guttenberg? He was in everything in the '80s. There was Jewel of the Nile.
Yep.
The sequel to the hit Romancing the Stone. So it's there you go. Got Witness.
Amish Harrison Ford.
Yep. The Goonies, a little movie that some people know about. $19 million budget for The Goonies.
Wow. All that pirate ship too.
Yeah. Think about like The Goonies and the Black Cauldron, like once you get to the pirate ship in The Goonies, like you could put the Black Cauldron in that set and it would fit.
Yeah. Yep.
And rounding out the top 10 movies of the year, budget wise, is Spies Like Us.
Which an underrated movie.
Underrated comedy. Sidney Pollack won for Best Director for Out of Africa. William Hurt, the other Hurt that I thought, it's like it's like, oh no, not William Hurt. John Hurt is in Black Cauldron.
William Hurt is
in Kiss of the Spider Woman. So,
William Hurt's the dad from Beethoven.
Yeah,
I think that was him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have Whoopi Goldberg won the Best Actress Golden Globe that year for
Color Purple.
Color Purple, and Prizzy's Honor was a big movie that year with Jack Nicholson. And the Golden Raspberry Awards, absolutely swept by Sylvester Stallone that year. So
how dare they?
Worst Picture, Rambo First Blood Part 2. Worst Director, Sylvester Stallone for Rocky 4. Worst Actor, Sylvester Stallone for his roles in Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Rocky 4. Worst Actress is Linda Blair. So, he gets a reprieve.
Was there another Exorcist movie that year? Why was she?
Because she was in Night Patrol, Savage Island, and Savage Streets. So she's a string of terrible films. Yeah.
JJ, you know what movie? Okay, so there's another movie that came out the same year as this, and it does the whole fantasy thing much better with a big scary villain.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yes, Legend comes out this year.
Yeah, Legend comes out the same year.
Also, to round up everything, Rob Lowe won Worst Supporting Actor for St. Elmo's Fire. Brigitte Nielsen won for Worst Supporting Actress for Rocky 4.
Oh, they can share their awards.
Worst Screenplay was shared by Sylvester Stallone and James Cameron for First Blood Part 2. Yes, everyone, remember, James Cameron co-wrote First Blood Part 2 with Sylvester Stallone.
James Cameron did other movies besides Titanic and Avatar, people.
Yeah. James Cameron used to be involved with great movies.
Yes.
Like First Blood Part 2.
And Terminator.
And Worst New Star, Brigitte Nielsen, for her role in Rocky 4 and Red Sonja. So
I feel like that's accurate.
That's accurate.
Yeah,
That was rightfully earned. I do not
I
agree.
have. I have.
I do not agree with dragging Sylvester Stallone through the mud like this.
There's plenty of things to drag him for, but Rocky Four is not one of those things.
Even First Blood's like perfectly fine action movie. I don't know what you're looking for
Yeah,
from the movie.
Murdoch, I'm coming for you.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some fun, some great movies in it. You said like Legend, the Care Bears movie, as we mentioned earlier. Brazil came out this year. The Breakfast Club came out this year.
Uh,
Um,
just like nerdy stuff that
yeah,
like Jay were talking about, like Reanimator comes out this year,
yeah.
and
Clue comes out that year.
Clues. You want to talk about underrated movies?
Clue rules.
There's another movie that came out in '85 that I enjoy, and
Commando.
I might be no. Well, yes, that movie's called Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
There you go. Yep.
That's just a
Yeah. Day of
nonsensical.
Day of the Dead. Death Wish 3. Ewok: The Battle for Endor.
Ugh. You watch that movie and you get a death wish.
Fletch.
I love Fletch.
Friday the 13th, The New Beginning, the Jason movie without Jason.
Oh, that's the one with Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fright Night. Fright Night.
Friday's great.
Ghoulies is great. Jim Cotta.
Not so great.
The Hills Has Eyes Part 2. The
Ugh.
Howling 2. Uh, Just One of the Guys, which is one of those 80s movies that can only exist in the time it came out, like Soul Man. It's just
What was the one? Oh, we talked about there. Santa Claus the movie,
Santa Claus the movie, yes.
which for some reason my parents took me to.
Uh, Life Force, a Toby Hooper nude space vampire movie.
Oh, you mean the sequel to Gradius?
A classic, the classic Tina Turner vehicle, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
We don't need another hero,
Yeah.
and mercifully, the final Roger Moore James Bond movie, A View
Yes.
to a Kill.
Blessed be A View to a Kill.
There are a few things JJ and I have conflict over, but my complete disdain for Roger Moore as as Bond is one of them.
Yes. Mask came out that year. You know, that was a big movie. There was something else that we were talking about off the
Return
air.
of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite horror movies of all time. The second most important zombie movie ever made.
It kind of like it's kind of like in the same vein as Black Cauldron as far as dark nonsense, but
Yeah, it's a nonsensical movie. It's a black comedy, but it's also, you know how we know that zombies eat brains? That's
it's
from
this
this
movie.
movie. That's where that came from. Zombies eat brains because of Return of the Living
Send more cops.
Dead. It is. I I would if you're gonna watch the Black Cauldron, go ahead watch the Black Cauldron, but also watch Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, why not? If you want some undead,
Yeah. If you want to see a movie with zombies in it, watch this, but then also watch Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Or if you want to be truly terrified, you can watch Pee Wee's Big Adventure. That
Oh
also
my
came out
gosh.
this year.
And tell them Large Marge sent you.
Tell them March. Yeah, exactly. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 came out this year.
Which I like part two.
Yeah, part 2's fine.
That whole barbecue scene is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Police Academy 2, woohoo. Yeah. A Rainbow Bright movie came out this year.
This is also the same movie that He-Man and She-Ra's Secret of the Sword came out.
There you go. Follow That Bird came out.
Follow That Bird. That creepy Mark Twain stop motion.
Yep. Truly the most terrifying movie of the year came out this year was Return to Oz.
Damn Jabberwocky.
Yeah. 1985 had just a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff and bad stuff and
and
terrible stuff.
and so we lift these movies off just not because we're nerds, but also because you think about what Black Cauldron's up against. In
Yeah,
addition to production issues, it has
yeah.
to compete with like a murderer's row of like entertainment bang.
Of like when we ran off those like top 10, you, like think about every movie in there. Like every single one of those still is like recognized.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
spies like us, not as much as some of the others. And as I said to you, I think Jewel of the Nile is probably more
yeah.
like Romancing the Stone is the recognized one. You probably, if you say Jewel of the Nile, it's like, well, then what's Jewel of the Nile? The sequel to Romancing the Stone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. They made a sequel to Jewel.
I mean, but think about like just the monster hit Back to the Future was.
Yeah. Hey Nick,
Yeah.
I'm looking at A View to a Kill right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. First of all, everyone, never watch A View to a Kill.
Don't do
Uh,
that.
it is an incredibly old man trying to be James Bond, and it features Grace Jones and Christopher Walken. It's
Oh my God.
and a blimp. There's a blimp is prominently featured. It's absolutely terrible.
It's not good.
Yeah. Also, it cost $30 million to make.
Oh God.
$14 million less than the Black Cauldron.
JJ, when did you say Black Cauldron came out?
July of '85.
Do you know what else came out in July of '85?
What came out July of '85?
Back to the Future. Death Sentence.
A new James Bond movie comes out in June of '85. So
Yeah. So Back to the Future came out in July 3rd, 1985.
yeah. So and
Black Cauldron had no chance.
And Black Cauldron came out like July 24th. So like 2 weeks later, the Black Cauldron
dead on arrival.
Dead. Yeah. And let's see. When did the Care Bears movie come out? That came out in March of '85. So
it's already come and gone, probably.
Yeah, it's come and gone. So at least there's that. At least
yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
Hey, guess what the budget for the Care Bears movie was?
$5 million.
$2 million.
Okay.
So.
And it made how much now?
$34 million.
Okay.
Overall, I think it made $23 million domestically.
So, Black Cauldron just had abject failure across the board.
Yeah, it's not a horrible movie.
No,
it's better than some of the other stuff we've talked about on here.
It's better than last week's movie. That's for damn sure.
Movie, and I don't hold a grudge to this movie. It tried. It tried something different. It tried to be not a Disney movie.
I think it helped going into it with like lower expectations, and
Yeah. I just typed in cartoons of 1985 because I want to know what was on TV in 1985.
Everything awesome.
Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. That wasn't in America, but I was very excited to see that. That came out. So much anime came out in the 80s.
Kanuka Man, I think, came out too.
Dirty Pair came out in 1985. I mean, come on. The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, the Berenstain Bears, the Care Bears.
Yep. This is like you have at this point on television.
I'm looking at this right now. Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears.
Yeah, 85.
That was a big movie. That was a big series.
Yep.
Yeah,
Transformers and G.I. Joe and Thundercats and
G.I. Joe, Real American
She-Ra.
Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling.
There you go.
Gem.
Great theme song. Not a good show. Great theme song.
Mask.
Underrated TV show, which is weird. It came out the same year as the Rocky Dennis Mask.
Yeah. She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Yep.
Star Wars Droids and Star Wars Ewoks.
It had a cereal. That's one thing it did.
Thundercats. And the Galactic Guardians DC animated series. Jeez, I forgot about that. Yeah. So,
and like
the
And then like,
world the world was fully engrossed in afternoon cartoons in 1985.
yeah,
So
and doing it better than Disney did here,
yeah,
and
like
even Disney doing it better with Gummy
yeah,
Bears.
Disney was doing better cartoons on TV than they were
Mm-hmm.
in theaters. So like what like you know Disney's trying to find its spot in history at this point. Like they've lost, they've got new ownership or leadership. You know, they're coming off a string of not necessarily failures, but non-successes. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, we
Um,
talked about like how like 2 years prior to this, Mickey's Christmas Carol came out,
yeah,
which we
um,
loved.
yeah. So, well, I mean, Return to Oz came out in '85, which was a Disney movie.
Right.
Um,
Is the
I'm
Disney
trying to.
Channel out at this point? Is that
Uh,
a
I don't. I don't think so.
okay?
Um, but I may be very, very wrong about that. 1985 in Disney. So you had a Fantasia re-release in 1985. Return to Oz, Black Cauldron, uh, 101 Dalmatians reissue.
Right. So they're making some money
Yeah,
with those probably.
yeah. So and on TV you have the Wuzzles and the Gummy Bears. Uh, so
Is Fraggle Rock out yet at this point?
I don't
Oh, that's not
know.
Disney. Oh, that's not Disney.
I
That's
think
still Jim
that's
Henson Studios.
still Jim Henson, so it would be Disney now, but not.
Yeah.
And and let's see what came out on video. So, oh, jeez, that's unfortunate. So the week before this came out, Black Cauldron came out in theaters. They released Pinocchio on VHS.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh
So
man,
they almost undercut their own.
yeah, boy. I mean, this is 1985 VHS, so that was like $300. But
Yeah, but you rented it.
yeah,
Yeah.
also this year, 1985, um, you the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes came out on VHS. So did Dumbo, the Black Hole, Mary Poppins, Pete's Dragon,
Oh
The
no.
Love Bug, Tron, Babes in Toyland, Family Robinson, Mickey's Christmas Carol came out on
Oh
VHS this year.
God.
Uh,
So
yeah. So,
they weren't banking on this movie to save them, were they?
but like the animation studio was. I don't think the
Yeah.
studio itself was because because this would have been the point where, um, if I'm not Pinocchio, if I'm remembering it right, uh, I think that's supposed to be like one of the first VHS tapes they put out.
Of animated feature film.
Yeah, and '85 would have been like the perfect timing for
Mhm.
that. So yeah, I don't know. So uh, yeah, yeah, Eisner was about spending as little as possible to make as much as possible. So
But it's smart. Like, hey, let's re-release this stuff that we know people like.
yeah, they were testing the waters in some cases with some of this stuff. So like, there's a reason why the first VHS tapes weren't um, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs or Fantasia or anything like. Lily and Disney didn't let Fantasia didn't get released because it was Walt's like personal, like that was his baby film, and they didn't know like you might be undercutting, so put out something that didn't make a lot of money in the first place or something stuff like that. So um, it's like because they were still worried that if you did that, people weren't going to go to the re-releases. Um, that was quickly proven wrong. That people bought the videos and still went to the re-releases.
Yep.
So that's when you start seeing like, all right, just start throwing them out there, start putting out the real ones. So um, yeah, so this movie almost killed the studio, but luckily they had a couple of projects in the hopper. Um,
Which kind of bailed them out.
yeah, the the next one does really well, but also it didn't cost $44 million, and the one after that does very well, and then you start hitting. Oh, now you're making serious
In
dollars.
about 4 years, the turnaround is going to be dramatic.
Yes, by the time you hit 1989, uh, it becomes a whole new ball game for the studio.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, so there you go. Exciting stuff. So you ready to rank it, Nick?
Let's rank it.
All right, Nick. How about Robin Hood?
I
Better
don't
or
like it as much. I don't like it as much. No,
Jungle Book?
no,
Sword in the Stone?
no,
Winnie the Pooh?
no,
Dumbo?
no,
Fantasia?
no.
Cinderella?
Yes,
You like it more than
I
Cinderella?
like it better than Cinderella.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing: like I love the animation in this movie.
Yeah, it goes
Weird
a long way.
story issues aside, like there's a lot going for it. And I feel like I was kind of rooting for this movie. Does that make sense? As I'm
Yeah,
watching it,
like
I'm
as you're
kind of like,
watching it and with having
like,
no real frame of reference of what the
like,
movie really
oh
is.
man, it's like it's just
Yeah,
you can tell it's there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't think, and this movie didn't come with a short film. Um, I don't think they do shorts for quite a while after this. So I don't think you get another short until Rescuers Down Under.
okay,
So
but I feel like it's high on my list, but I kind of thought it might be.
yeah. All right. So let's see. For me, not as much Jungle Book, not as much as Fantasia, not as much as Winnie the Pooh. Worse than Cinderella, Snow White, Peter Pan. I like it. I like Robin Hood more. I like this more than 101 Dalmatians.
Wow. So
So
it's cracking both our top tens, isn't it?
yeah, despite the story issues, I still think it's very fun. It's a very fun watch,
It's
and it
it
does. I mean,
visually.
it does have a story, and it has a resolution. It may be a dumb story and sort of poorly pieced together, and you know, I think it's fine. So for me, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One,
Mhm.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for you. So
That's
it's in our top 10 for both of us.
I. So despite what you might have heard, like we kind of like this movie.
Yeah, there's a
We
lot
kind of
to
like this movie.
there's a lot to like about this movie. It's an underdog movie, like you said. You're rooting for it a little bit.
Yeah,
Like it's like Rocky 2. It's like uh, you know, it may not be as good as the first one, and
yeah.
this may not be as good as some of the previous Disney stuff, but still, the heart is still there. It's
It's
trying. It's trying so hard, but
it's not as bad as its reputation would lead you to believe.
yeah,
Because it's like, oh, it's terrible, and like, it's like,
no,
you just sit there and watch it.
I've heard from more than one person that this is their favorite Disney movie, which is surprising. Um, I don't think I could ever make it my favorite Disney movie,
No, 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 no,
but
no.
I can also get it, especially this came out in 1985. Like, you know, especially for some of these people I would have talked to, this would have, you know, already been in their house probably or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I mean, you said this is the first Disney movie released when you were alive, right?
yes, I was born in May of '85, and this came out in July of '85.
Yeah. So
So yeah. So also during the research of this, we also uh, learned that we pinpointed. Speaking of birthdays, that we pinpointed thanks to the research for this movie that the Ferris Bueller's Day Off takes place on your birthday in 1985.
yep.
On your fifth birthday. It's
Well,
just one of those things, one of those happy little coincidences that we've discovered while learning some of the stuff about
and
this
nothing
movie.
else that makes me happy.
Yeah. So, and yes, and Ferris Bueller comes out next year, I think, '86.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. So there you go. Next week is The Great Mouse Detective. It comes out summer of '86. So quick turnaround on films for the studio this year. But again, they were working on them at the same time, and Black Cauldron ran into issues. So that's bound to happen, especially when you need to make money back on the animation studio. So
Uh, I'm looking forward to seeing Great Mouse Detective because I don't know that I've ever seen it.
Yeah, it's based on Basil of Baker Street um, and Sherlock Holmes. It's like a
Yeah,
hybrid of those two. Which, Basil of Baker Street is basically a hybrid of Sherlock Holmes already. So,
yeah. I mean, he's got the
uh,
deer stalker and the whole gear. So yeah,
yeah. So, it's very, it's exciting. It's actually been relatively recently since I've seen The Great Mouse Detective because it was one of those movies when I was it's one of those movies that sort of struck me when I was coming up with the idea for a Disney podcast, and I'm watching it and I'm like, this movie is super fun. I don't think anyone's seen it in the
yeah.
like decades. So
It got a Blu-ray release, but right before they were including digital copies.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but I think you can walk into a Best Buy right now and pick it up.
yeah. It's a very recent release too. So
Yeah,
um so yeah. 2015 or something, I think, something like that.
certainly easier to come across than the one we just spoke about because
Yes.
wow, that
Yeah.
was not fun.
Yeah. So yeah, so yes, next week, The Great Mouse Detective. Look forward to it.
It won't be as long as this episode, we promise. There's
Yeah,
there's there's a lot less.
there's a lot less to unpack with The Great Mouse Detective. Uh,
Yeah,
so and far less like awful production issues.
yeah.
It has its fair share of production issues,
It's
but
just a fun movie,
yeah.
apparently. So
And this movie comes out the year after Young Sherlock Holmes, so th- there's a reason why it's called The Great Mouse Detective. So
there,
so
yeah,
there we go.
yep. There we go.
Until then, thanks again for joining us, and have a magical day.
Bye.